All right. Our youth is being impacted by stress, and it's important that we help them. This is where Beyond Pressure comes in. It's an amazing project run by a pair of high schoolers, Urja and Kaya, who are very passionate about alleviating student academic stress within their community. I'm very excited to be a part of this documentary that they are producing to raise.
So, what would you say are the top causes of stress in your life?
Yeah, I would say I really like to help people, and when I feel stress or stress from my residents, I want to try and do whatever I can. I know I can't help everyone, and I can't always make the right decision. So for me, I would say besides work, it's really just being, somebody for everyone. I really like to be a really good wife, a really good stepmom, a really good dog mom, a really good daughter. So I think, external pressures are really hard to face.
That's very nice information.
Yes, sometimes maybe recently when my daughter go to like 10th grade, it's it's even like happened more and more. Yeah.
I don't see any stress in my kids, but I know that there are potential reasons where a teenager or any kid can get stressed,
I
right?
don't feel teenagers are stressed these days because there's a lot of peer pressure in school. They're worried about their academics, getting A's in all subjects, and in general, I feel like their day starts very early and ends very late.
Yes, my teenager is stressed, and the top cause is because he's having a hard time managing his studies because he didn't plan for it well.
Not yet. He's a seventh grader, and when I listened to your presentation, one point which got stuck to me and I could relate to it was there is like few kinds of stress. There is a good stress, which is good, which probably the kids should have it, and I feel like even my teenager doesn't even have that stress.
All right. Yes, my teenager is stressed. She's always snapping at us. She's always stressed about her homework or grades or something. She's stopped exercising or participating in extracurriculars other than those related to the academics. So, yeah, I think she definitely is stressed.
Yes, I do feel that my teenager is stressed in high school. There's a lot of work academically that needs to be accomplished in high school compared to middle school, and I don't think that they're prepared for it.
To some extent, yes, I do feel that he's stressed because kind of sometimes I feel or I notice that he is irritated and he kind of loses his temper often. So definitely that's a sign of stress among the teenagers. So yes, I feel that. Yeah.
Well, like a teenager, there are moments when there is stress and there's degrees, but on a scale of how adolescent stage stress shows up in many teenagers, I think he's not that stressed.
The top cause of the stress is keeping up with all the work they have to do in school, along with all the recreational activities that they'd like to be participating in. I think they find that they have to do a lot more work for the subjects compared to middle school or even elementary school, and that they're just not prepared for. Additionally, there's peer pressure from other students who may be doing well, and they feel that they need to match up to their grades and things like that. And in the middle of all this, they find that they don't have time to do things that they are interested in outside of study.
Sometimes happen when she feel confused about the future, like what I should do for the next quarter, or the even for the future, which college, or sometimes it's about the points of the grade. Yeah. But others stress about the environment, like friends, family. Maybe sometimes it's stress from me, but I'm not like notice. I'm push a little bit, but I don't think so. But I think for my daughter, yes.
Primarily, if you see that the stress I want to explain to my kids, or I explain to myself, is like we are a test tube of chemicals, different hormones, enzymes, and all those things. And when they get into the imbalance mode, it causes us to react in a different way, and that you can say stress. It can be those hormonal balance can get into a wrong state caused by different things, right? Family, what is going in your dining table and the equation of the family, that has the most biggest impact, right? So from reading different articles and knowing things, I think that is the primary reason.
Top cause, I would say, the time management. Like they have so much on their plate, academics, extracurricular activities, and also like my teenager, he is in 11th grade now. So like the thought of like the colleges, like what are the colleges, what should be their path, and I think there's a lot that they need to decide at this point.
I'd say the top cause is academic achievement. She wants to get into an Ivy League college, so she's essentially taking all the steps towards that. And that's what's stressing her out, right? She needs to maintain her grades and get the extracurriculars towards that goal.
I think most of the stress which comes to the kids are that need or that necessity they feel to be better at something, even if they don't like it, or even if they have to do it as a part of the process.
Also, what advice would you give to high schoolers or even their parents about managing stress due to academics?
Yeah, so I would say in high school, I'm an only child, so it was like one person, you know, my mom had one shot to have a really successful child, I would say. So there was different pressure, but I really found kind of success and joy in not my grades. I still made it to college. I wasn't a straight A student. You know, I didn't have honor roll or AP classes or anything like that. I think it really is a moment in time. And it is something that take the opportunity, because you'll never be in that moment again. You know, those 4 years seem really grueling and daunting, but you'll probably all get into the university somewhere. You'll all make it through high school, and I think success looks very different to many different people. So I think defining your own success is really important.
Yeah, I really like that answer.
I think he needs to plan his work better so that everything doesn't boil down to the last minute. So for that, he needs to kind of keep a journal for himself. He needs to plan out what he needs to do and at what time properly, and he needs to manage out his day properly so that he can take care of all those things. I think a main thing about de-stressing is they need to be actively engaged in some sort of hobbies. That's the number one way to de-stress themselves. In case of my teenager, it's sports. So, you know, that's why I always encourage him to continue with his sports, so that he can do something besides of managing his work at school. He also likes to get involved in activities around what he wants to build his career going forward. Like he wants to go to business. So he is trying out different business ventures outside of his current studies in academics, which I think is a de-stressor because that makes his work fun, sort of.
Okay, when you think of stress management, it's more about either you manage things beforehand so that you are avoiding stress, and there are also things that you can do if you end up being in a situation where stress is already created. So to avoid stress beforehand, I would advise teenagers or youth to have a plan of things that they are needing to do, a plan for all their activities, a time management strategy, a prioritization schedule, sort of analysis of what is important to them and how they want to manage it. So that would help them to not be stressed. And if they end up being in a situation where they are stressed, then there are different kinds of stresses. Like sometimes you're stressed because you have an exam coming up, and that's good. You have to be stressed so that you are able to push yourself to do better. But sometimes you end up in a situation where you are taking stress due to external circumstances, or then you need to kind of analyze it yourself and kind of figure out, how can I come out of this? Who can I talk to? Having open conversations with parents or any other adults that they are close to can sometimes be helpful, just to get tips and suggestions of what worked for them. Or sometimes it's about talking to friends and peers who have gone through something similar and can help them, support them come out of it.
I would recommend them to remember that this is not the end. Like, breathe, take small steps. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and everything works out in the end. Keep that in mind.
Right. I'd say definitely get out and exercise, spend time with your friends. When you're taking a break from work, do stop thinking about work. I think the only thing she does for entertainment is some kind of a screen, either TV or phone. She needs to get out of that habit and go outside into the fresh air. That, in my opinion, would be the best thing for her.
Reading, for my experience, I think you can read to like enrich your life. You can have many others you even don't know, like some novel could tell you a different story about some other people. So understand, have the compassion with others. And if sometimes, we from China, maybe in the past a few years, during the pandemic thing, the period, something maybe is not so good, but as a Chinese, we should know what happened and have the compassion, right, with others. My daughter, she like K-pop. I saw that when she like dance, she's very happy, and so I suggest Cici, if she feel like when she studied during the long time, stop to like dance, like to like talk with your friend. Maybe it's another good way to de-stress. Yeah.
As I said, we are a test tube of chemicals. Be aware of those chemicals and start doing things that will control your chemical. Right? For me personally, it is sweat, meaning exercise. If I exercise, if I do that, when I say that, that means a rigorous game where my mind is also involved. Like if I am stressed at my work, and if I play soccer, I am saying that play soccer, then my entire thought process about the outer world just cuts off, because I cannot think of anything else other than passing the ball to the right person or scoring a goal. Treadmill or the running on the treadmill doesn't solve that problem, because you actually start actively thinking or running that thoughts. So active kind of not only like exercise, but doing something where your mind completely get cut off, you get to do things that is completely different, plays a big role in taking control of.
I would say like it depends on the personality, because like for example, my teenager, for him to de-stress is socialization. He loves to hang out with his friends and find some, but it's different for every individual. So definitely identifying that area that helps them, like it could be for some people participating in any extracurricular activities, it could be say athletics, it could be any kind of art related stuff.
The biggest stress management tip that they need to be equipped with is time management, and for that they need to be able to plan ahead. They know that they're encountering a lot of new things, and there's a lot of uncertainties that lay ahead of them, so they need to make time and plan ahead for all of that. And if they do that, they're prepared for last minute things that get thrown their way. And then managing the time will also make sure that they can allot enough time to do things that they're really interested in outside of school, like extracurricular activities and all of that.
Yeah, again, like this is like something I can totally relate to your presentation. Exercise and meditation probably are the two important things which can help them better to tackle the stress. Exercise, probably the kids will do, if the kids do some kind of sports like rigorously. My kid does swimming, so I think that part can be covered. For meditation, it doesn't need to be like actually sitting and meditating. It can be like meditating in any way you want. Like some kids like music, some likes art like painting and stuff, so they can all relate, or they can all fall into that meditation category. So something which they like, which they have passion for, maybe a few times a week if they do it, I feel that might also help.
I would love more counseling in school, like making kids understand that, it's okay to be stressed, but giving them some tips on how to deal with stress in individual subjects. It's okay if you get a bad grade in a subject, and you can still have attempts to get better at it. And I would love them to be involved in more physical activities, something they enjoy doing away from the schoolwork, and go as a family on hikes or some family outing, which would help them.
Recently, we talk about more about how to set up a goal for the long term or even short term. So I think right now, high school student, if you think deeply about the future, like I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, it will be more stress. I think the goal should be set up step by step, separate, right? So the first step, you can touch it, and then the next step is better to you can jump to touch it, right? So but finally, you want to go some famous college, maybe not for the first time. You can go like a community college first, and then choose follow your passion with the major, and then maybe someday in the future you can touch your goal.
I think the basics are the most important things. That is the routine, the daily routine that any teenager or anyone follows. So if we have a very good discipline in life, then that stress can be managed very nicely.
When we think of the community around youth, it begins at its home and outside of home, or home, school, and outside of these two places. So at home, it would be really nice if parents become more aware of all the things going on in their child's lives and are able to keep track of things and not put additional pressure in terms of expectations that are rising out of either their own personal aspirations or their perceptions of what everybody else is in the world is doing. Parents often unintentionally end up putting pressure, not even realizing that every little sentence that they say has an effect on their adolescent. So that's the parents. And at school, in the school environment, it is about the peers and about the staff. And I think the school staff tries their level best to alleviate those pressures by the counselors try to tell the students about how there are multiple paths for them to take after high school, and they need not be worried about where they are going to end up. They should just kind of be in the moment and actually try to learn and grow while they are in high school. But there are also certain subjects or certain teachers that might end up saying that one little sentence which makes a student feel like, oh my God, now my professor said this, and that means I am really not good at something. So I think teachers getting more educated about communication with teenagers and using the right language, using the appropriate terminologies, and trying to even, I wish there were enough counselors or enough staff in schools to really have a little bit more connection with students, so that the students feel that their counselors and staff are approachable to them to be able to talk when situations arise.
All right. So regarding help and support, I think that the teenagers, or at least my teenager, is doing a lot. And maybe it shouldn't all be extracurricular. They should get some academic support, like colleges have independent studies and things like that. So that way it is not all on them, but it counts towards their grade and what their goals are. I'd also like to see them participate more in just regular sport which is non-competitive, just for the fun of it, and maybe have schools organize more of these just fun activities. And again, it shouldn't be all extracurricular. Some of this could get academic support for the people, say the organizers of proms and things like that, or the people on the student council should maybe get some academic credit for that.
I would say, like, regarding time management, I do not see that in high school they have enough help from the counselors. The reason being, there are so many students and the caseload for each counselor is too high, so it is like literally not possible for one human to probably, you know, cater to 150 students or so, or even more than that might be. So it's kind of like the schools need to think to give them, like, they should increase the number of counselors and reduce their caseload so that they can meet with them frequently. Yes, he can schedule an appointment with a counselor, but I don't see that connection happening. So
the most important fact is that we as parents, right, we have to make sure that for any kids or for me even, when I come back home, I know that I will not be judged. This is the best place on earth which will support me, whatever I am, irrespective of my grade, and always push me ahead, right? So I think that feeling has to be instilled in all the kids and in the family, that this is the best place where I will not be questioned for what am I, right? And people will always around me or myself can push me ahead. So a B plus or B or a C or a D grade is an opportunity.
The biggest thing I would do is help them manage their time again. And the one way I can do this is, I try to do this is remind them of their schedule, what's coming up in the next couple of weeks or next month, so that they can use this information to then plan their time however they choose. And again, the actual time management is in their hands, but the best thing I can do is just make them prepared to see what's coming ahead.
Talking to him regularly, that's what I try to do today too. I think the frequency might go little down as he grows up more, and there can be like he gets more busy with classes and homeworks, but I do want to connect to him still, like asking about how is he doing, if he's having some stress. And also I would still try to engage him with his extracurricular which he is doing now, like music and some sports which he wants to do.
Yeah. And what do you do for managing stress?
So for managing stress, I actually wake up at 5 a.m. with my wife every day, and we work out, and then we walk the dogs. We also do about an hour of just drinking coffee. I wish I was more intentional by meditating, but I think just waking up for an extended period of time really helps kind of set the day. I do like to have things written down, kind of my day planned, to try and at least, if I do something, one good thing that day or something intentional, that at least mentally I feel slightly better. I do also have a mental health therapist, which I think is super healthy, really great. Big proponent of that. And then I would say, other than that, I love walking my dogs. I like spending time with family. For some, that's not a relaxing time with their family, but if you can find somebody that you can talk to or spend time with, maybe reading a book, that's another thing that I really like to do.
Great answer.
Okay, it's hard. Sometimes we will be better to give suggestion, but when it happened for me, sometimes we didn't know. Oh, I'm like depressed, like
Yes.
I'm right now anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
If for me, like after I moved here, I should start from zero. Like
Yes.
so at that time I'm so depressed. So but I don't know. But my husband suggests me to like make new friends to study. Right now I'm studying at Belleville College, so improve my English. So something maybe is the big problem like you depressed. So you should for me I should give the solution of what's the problem. What can I do for myself to let me calm down.
I go for walks, I do gardening, and always try to remember that this is not the end. It will work out in the end. Like nothing is so important that you should burden yourself so much.
Well, I try to keep my work and my life separate as much as I can. I try not to bring my work home. And I do engage myself in hobbies as well. Apart from that, like music, listening to it, watching movies, or doing photography. These are my de-stressing techniques.
It's actually the same things in my own life. I mean, I know what's coming up 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, what I need to accomplish. So I plan my time and I do stuff ahead of time. The other important thing is prioritization. It's knowing what you cannot do and then cutting it out so that you don't keep it doesn't keep dragging you down. So prioritization is also important. It might be something you want to really do, but then out of the big list of things, if you think it falls down in priority, you need to be able to let go of stuff.
Practicing meditation every day, that helps. Even 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever way it helps with you. There are many helps, just stick to one, it will help. And exercise. If it happens, just being aware of I need some help, and that external help can be either you try to provide that help or just asking family and that, hey, I'm going through this, and just asking about that question, maybe they will bring some perspective that will magically take your get the control of it. In a scientific way, again, the test tube, if it is acidic, you just put a little bit of base, it will just get neutralized.
I have pets, so I take them for a long walk. I love music. I listen to music and do things that make me happy. So these are definitely two things, or spend some family time. These are the things that we do. And
yeah, again, there's exercise which I don't have much time to do, but I still try to, like even walking can be better. And also doing something which you like how we were talking about quilting, like that's probably I felt like I'm doing it, like even if like once or twice a week. Or I like painting or music, like whatever I love doing or I have that passion for that time, I try to make some time for myself, like at least once or twice a week. That helps me tackle the stress, and also talking about it with someone.
So for me, whenever I do take a break from work, I do take a break from work. One of the leading causes of stress for me is the teenager or the kids. I do want to be able to spend more time with them, just doing fun activities, maybe outdoors, going on hikes and things like that. And then for me personally, I do try to exercise more regularly, go to the gym a couple of times or a few times a week. That helps me de-stress.
I think stress is naturally also coming due to expectations. You are expecting something from yourself or from others around you, and when that's not fulfilled, you feel like, oh, something is wrong, how do I make it happen? And then you're stressed. So maybe reducing expectations is one way of reducing stress. But if I end up being stressed, my general way is to actually take a break, take time off, and do something that I really enjoy. Sometimes it's listening to music. Sometimes it's going and hanging out with friends. Sometimes it's binge watching a TV show, or just